All right, let's get into it. Today we're talking about something I think a lot of us feel deep down, that there's some kind of creative artist buried inside, just waiting to get out. So let's figure out how to unearth that person.
You know, this quote really sticks with you. It's this powerful, kind of haunting idea. And the source material we're looking at today warns that way too many of us are on track to add our own unfulfilled ideas to that wealth.
Michelle, the creator of our source material, believes that every single one of us has this creative person inside, waiting for a chance to break free. It doesn't matter if it's a writer, a painter, a coder, whatever. That artist is in there.
But there's a huge problem in our modern world that keeps that artist buried. It's something called the consumption trap. It's this endless cycle of watching and listening but never actually doing.
I mean, just think about your day. How much of it is spent taking things in versus putting something new out into the world? The source points out that for most of us, it's something like 99% input. We're listening, we're reading, we're watching, but we're almost never actually making.
And this leads to what the source calls passive consumption syndrome. It perfectly describes that tricky feeling, right? You watch a really smart documentary or read a great article, and you feel productive. But here's the thing, if that knowledge is never actually applied, it doesn't lead to anything.
And that's the core imbalance right there. We spend almost all of our time on the consumer side, just taking things in. But all the real value, all the art, all the innovation, that all happens on the other side, the creator side, the output side.
This is such a perfect analogy. You wouldn't expect to magically get fit without ever hitting the gym, right? So why on earth do we expect to create something amazing without ever putting in the practice? So how do we flip this? How do we go from being a consumer to a creator? Well, the answer is kind of surprising. It lies in a couple of things we usually try really hard to avoid: boredom and discipline. Let's talk about boredom for a sec. We're so conditioned to see it as a failure. The second we feel it, we reach for our phones to fill the void. But what if boredom isn't the enemy? The source argues it's actually a crucial signal from your brain. It's saying, hey, this isn't working for me anymore. I need a change. It's a powerful prompt to go create something new.
Now, a lot of us have this romantic idea about creativity. We think it's this lightning strike of inspiration that you just have to wait for. And a perfect example is the brilliant George R.R. Martin, who famously waits for the muse to show up to write his books.
But then you've got someone like Stephen King who has a totally different approach. For him, there's no waiting around for a muse. There's just the work. It's a relentless, disciplined routine. 6 pages, every single day. And that's the big takeaway here. We've got to stop treating creativity like it's some magical force we can't control. Stephen King treats it like a job. You show up, you clock in, and you do the work. Whether you feel inspired that day or not, that's what gets results.
Okay, so you're ready to treat it like a job. Awesome. But what does that actually look like? Well, here's a simple but really powerful toolkit to help you turn all that passive consumption into real, tangible output.
To break free from that passive loop, you have to get active. So first, set a goal. Before you even start reading or watching something, ask yourself, why am I doing this? What problem am I trying to solve? Second, rewrite what you learned in your own words. This forces your brain to actually process it. And third, this one is huge. Teach it back. Try to explain the concept to someone else. That's the ultimate test of whether you really get it.
And here's a little secret about creation. It's not about inventing something from scratch. It's about what's called idea synthesis. It's the art of taking ideas that already exist, mixing them up, and combining them in a new, unique way.
The Modern Podcast is a perfect example of this. It's brilliant, right? It just combines the formal structure of a TV interview with the casual, relatable vibe of a chat between friends. And boom, a whole new, super valuable format is born. That's creativity in action.
So, you have the right mindset and you've got the tools. But there's still one final, massive barrier that stops almost everyone dead in their tracks. And that barrier is perfectionism. This quote from Julia Cameron just hits the nail on the head. We think perfectionism is about having high standards, but really, it's just a trap. It's a form of fear that keeps us from ever starting because we're terrified our first try won't be good enough. So that feeling you call procrastination, that little voice telling you, I'll do it tomorrow, let's just call it what it really is. It's fear. Fear of being judged, fear of failing, fear that maybe you're not as good as you hope you are. But here's the good news. Like any other feeling, fear has an antidote. Think about it this way. When you're hungry, you eat.
the hunger goes away. Well, when you're scared to start something, you have to act. Action is what cures the fear. The only way out is through.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. We all get richer when you share your creativity, your unique way of combining ideas, your voice, your art. That's something only you can give to the world. So the real question isn't just what